Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan. Today we are back for another Simple Signal stream. Hopefully my mic wasn't peaking then. I just realised it's on 0. Welcome back to Simple Signals. Welcome back to another stream from Crypto Warehouse. I know there's been like 3 today, so obviously if you've been to all of them, you're a real one. You're a real one. Today's going to be a really interesting one. Obviously you can kind of see on the screen, it's kind of, right there. Obviously my camera's inverted. You can see right there, pretty red so far. I've got, obviously depending on if you're bullish or bearish, positive or negative news depending on obviously your position on the market, and I'm pretty excited to get into it. We've got some more pie in the sky stuff today, some interesting things, some things a bit up in the air, but they do seem to line up with what I've been saying already, so I'm going to be talking about them today on stream. As you can see, we've got 2 charts. I'm excited to go over it. There's quite a lot to go over for Bitcoin, so I'm going to spend quite a lot of time on that. If you've got any coins you want me to cover, put them in the chat. I will cover them. I'll put them obviously in my handy dandy notebook on my computer, and I will look at them after we look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. 30 minutes, hopefully 30 minutes. I do have a lot to say about Bitcoin, so it might not be exactly 30 minutes, but hopefully 30 minutes throughout the stream. Hopefully the audio levels are okay. I see my mic's slightly peaking here and there. For some reason, the audio was like all the way up for some reason, so I've tried to change it, so hopefully I'm not destroying everyone's eardrums or speakers. Other than that, check the descriptions out wherever you're watching, regardless on YouTube or Binance. There are useful links down there, especially the Telegram. That is the most important one for me anyway, personally, because obviously that's where the community is. That's where me and Mike are. If you want to come talk to us, ask any questions, or ask for any charts, you can come over there. And if you feel so inclined and you want to support the channel for free, your options are you can like and follow. Obviously, that would greatly appreciate. I would greatly appreciate it, and it would greatly help us as well. Obviously, no sweat off your back in terms of monetary, but if you do really enjoy our content, consider donating, consider supporting the channel over at YouTube. And that's about it. I'm not going to plug anything else. I try and keep these intros short. We're 3 minutes in, basically 2 minutes for an intro. I think that's probably record time for us. I think we'll just get straight into CoinMarketCap and have a look at some percentages, and then we can get onto Bitcoin and the entire, smorgasbord I have ready, for the stream. We've got like 2 charts. Okay, it's going to be quite heavy. So hopefully everyone's excited. Hopefully everyone's ready. I'm pretty excited for this, so let's get into it. So 56, let me refresh the page. I don't want another mishap. 56,528 for Bitcoin, 2% down 24 hour, obviously 0.12, 0.12% down on 1 hour. It doesn't really matter that because obviously we've just printed a new hour. 7 day 4.34% down. Similar with Ethereum, 2.2% down 24 hour, 5% on the 7 days. That's also a bit down, 2,388. So roughly in the similar area where we were last time at 2,450, that rough area. Obviously we're coming down to some previous areas. Solana's at 130. You can see on the sidebar it's gone up a bit. I think we had that double top. I can't remember exactly what I said last time, so we'll go over it. Hopefully I was correct. Obviously no one's ever 100% correct. I always say it on streams. None of this is financial advice. Please make sure whenever you're trading, and you're watching the streams, it's your own TA and your own back and your own knowledge, this, that, the other, that you're trading on, and it's not mine, for example. Because, I can be wrong. Everyone out there is wrong, occasionally. Obviously, depending on their strategy. I obviously seem to have something in my throat, and I can't clear it, so hopefully I don't start having a coughing fit halfway through the stream. I think that's about it, really, of what I want to cover percentages. I normally cover the main 3. I can't clear this. I don't know what it is. So anyway, I'm just gonna move on to Bitcoin. So it's a bit messy. Let me delete some of these crap things. Okay, so we're gonna do. Let me put my aircon on me because I am boiling in here. Let's have a look at what we did last time. So this is some of the previous stuff. Here, I thought we were going to go a bit higher towards this area, about 58.5. We were only at 58.270, so about $200, $300 away from where I expected. Obviously, we did eventually come back to this gap. I don't know if this is a 4-hour gap, but regardless, we eventually came back to this 4-hour gap afterwards, after having this big dump as a higher high, which is nice to see. Obviously, we had our lower low at this gap down here, which we've already conceived, and these lows down here, which obviously this basically big range was my concerning areas. Either we are going to this high, obviously we sweep that and came down. Obviously seeing this area, obviously we've swept that and we've come up a bit towards this lower high. Obviously now we are coming down, whole big thing. Let me actually hide this onto the price. There we go. Hopefully my big head isn't covering it. Let me shimmy it down a bit. But anyway, we are kind of hovering now. We obviously, you can see a wick down below this line, and importantly as well, this wick brought us to fill this handy dandy, lovely fair value gap, which we had. Obviously, this is, you don't need a dealing range. You don't need like a premium discount to tell that this within our entire price action, this is a decently low price. So this was going to be more applicable to happen than not to happen, and obviously lo and behold, we came towards it. Obviously we filled the midpoint of this. We can see we filled the entirety of this to this bottom pretty exactly. Obviously came up to do our higher high here at this fair value gap, which is obviously a pretty high point here, this inefficiency, and now obviously we're coming down. I know my chart is messy today, I'm not gonna lie. I will be clearing this up. It is very, very messy, but it is not without reason for these squares and lines. So let's go on to it. This is hopefully not going to be very annoying for you guys, because I just need to clear my throat and I don't know how to do it. So obviously we had this. There's multiple. No, okay, we had this head and shoulders. I will point out. I already talked about that. I'm going to delete this because it's kind of in the way. We had this green thing. I can't remember what this was. There's a lot of things. Problem is, it happens every chart. I'm very guilty of drawing multiple things and them not kind of being okay. Well, it looks like this was a fair value gap which we filled and then came up. Obviously this was finding this gap, and obviously this I think this is the bigger gap, obviously touching it slightly here and then coming down all the way. So a big response off that. But I can't remember what this was. I don't know if it's like a 15-minute thing. I just have a ton of things. I'm just gonna delete it. It doesn't really matter now. Hopefully it doesn't. Let's go back over to where we are. Oh yeah, we had that big range up here. I'm gonna ignore that for now because it is messy, my chart, I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, we're at reason. Let's go to 30 minutes because this is where of importance there is. We found this rejection block down here. Obviously big, a decently big candle, but a very, very big wick. Obviously number one, filling this gap. Number two, going below 56, which is an important price anyway. Obviously just forming this as we kind of came below number one, this 56 price, and number two, this inefficiency. And then lo and behold, what happened? You know, you can see we used it again, used it over here, and then importantly, we used it at this midpoint here, also forming a new order block below us at this point, which I don't really want to have on the screen. But rejection blocks, they can happen multiple times, but I believe, after a while, they're gonna eventually you're gonna break out of them. You're not gonna hold them forever and ever and ever. But when you normally come to the midpoint, you kind of not use them anymore. So I'm not gonna delete it. I just wanted to have it on the screen to show you guys kind of like the can't select it. There we go. Just to show you guys what has been happening with that rejection block and not. So coming to it, obviously forming this now, using its support, here and here. If we obviously go on lower time frames, you can see even better. This kind of formed it, rounded action, filling this area. I believe there's something else here. We'll get onto it. Obviously coming it back down to use it and then continuing onwards up to this red area and this black line. So if we zoom out now again to find why are we using this, well, we kind of have this thing going on, big wick up, an immediate big response downwards. So this is kind of a decent area where we're going to find some sort of resistance here. Obviously what is really convenient is a consistent price here was actually the midpoint of this line. So this is going to be something a considerable resistance area. But again, these are on the lower time frames, so this isn't going to be anything we're going to hold forever and ever and ever. It's just something to kind of consider as a decent price point to pay attention to. We've also got this line. I don't know why. I can't remember which time frame I drew this on, but it does also look like we have a bit of a low wick downwards, which we kind of flipped, and then we're in the area. So let me try and find why I've drawn this, because sometimes I'll just start drawing things, and then I won't even regard why I've drawn it. I don't think it's a gap or anything. I don't really think it's that important. Let me just delete it. Maybe if it's so important, I'll redraw it. Obviously, that green area we just drew, obviously now coming to this resistance area. So that's kind of what we have so far. This main area up here of resistance. We've formed this order block down here where we had that rejection block, and we're kind of having support down there. So as I see it on these minute time frames, these small areas, we're kind of in this area right now. But again, the general trend, like I said, we are really doing this, over kind of moving downwards. Now, if I go back to the daily, just to show you the general thing. So I've kind of gone through the small time frames just to see what's going on, and now we're in this true area. So manipulation, we're actually coming into manipulation now. Now, what I said needs to happen is the general movement within this needs to be a strong downwards movement, so that when we enter into the next area, coming into September and October time, our movement could be positive, moving up to obviously our high areas, as hopefully people expect. But market can happen where a lot of people expect one thing and then the market does the opposite. What I'm also going to do actually is delete some of these random, or not random areas, but some of these areas down here, which we've had for a while, because these are just getting a bit messy. These lines are good, but again, I'm just going to delete most of this. If it's so important, I can just draw it again. I think that's about it. Obviously, we had that line. Don't really care about that. Anything else? I don't think so. Yeah, mainly this fair value gap was pretty important. Oh, again, 4 hour, pretty strong twice now. But now that we feel that we can ignore it now because we've finished it off. But you know, I just wanted to show it on the screen. Also, additionally, coming below this 56 and kind of doing this. So hopefully this isn't something where we've done that and now we're going to be, you know, coming upwards now in terms of doing this. Because again, we have a big movement. Not saying it has to happen because, you know, chart patterns, this, that, the other don't always happen, you know, 100% of the time in terms of their entire movement. But again, it is on the daily and we are, you know, slowly moving downwards. You know, throughout. Again, this could hopefully, maybe potentially be a stopping point. But I don't think we come down to here though. I don't think 50k. I think that's definitely a really big low point. I think that's the lowest point probably. I don't think we come to it though. I think it'd be a bit higher than that, personally. But anyway, I don't think that's, from what I'm remembering, what I've drawn. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to point out. Obviously, kind of just skimming over this wedge we had, which obviously invalidated all these things up here because, you know, a 1 hour bull flag isn't really gonna break out of a daily rising wedge. So obviously that's kind of happened there. Obviously, additionally, we had this daily fair value gap, which we obviously came into and did really nicely. But again, we're going over stuff we've already gone over. Let me check the chat though quickly before I move on to the next chart. Oh, not next chart, but the other chart for Bitcoin. Sir, give me 1 Bitcoin. No. You're not getting 1 Bitcoin. I don't see the point of people asking that. That's it. Chat's pretty dead there, so let's go over to YouTube. See what people are saying. Let me have a quick look. Evening all. I've been at the hospital all day to come back and see that the price is reversed. Well, hopefully you're okay. I wish you the best, KB. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we are showing signs that we're slowing down a bit. Like, especially you can see that on the daily. Where is the screen? There it is. Yeah, so yeah, especially on the daily, you can see it. Obviously, you know, we do need to get below this line if we're going to be going anywhere. You know, if we start to, if we go above these, you know, if we go towards 58.5 and kind of break above this, then that's, you know, even more, for me anyway, more confirmed in terms of where we're going to go to. Let me delete some of these other lines as well because we've already used these and crossed them. I'll keep that up there as well, actually. But yeah, if we start to, you know, truly kind of start to do this and start to come up, then I'll know for sure, personally, that this is obviously an important area we need to cross and that we can come upwards and obviously continue back onwards. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Well, one of the other things I wanted to point out was something a bit pie in the sky, which is over here. This is a bit of obviously, to be fair though, this is also important in terms of this right here. This is really, really important, these red areas, which I will go over in 30 seconds when I finalize to myself that I've talked about everything I want to talk about. I think I have. So what I will do, I will move on. Yes, actually, no, what I want to do is tell you guys the price down here really quickly, which is 51.8 area. I just want to point that out because it's something I'm going to be talking about in a second when we go over to this chart. So this is a, you don't have to understand, you know, this is pretty complex in terms of, it's a whole lot of lines and a whole lot of nothing going on. I don't know what's going on. That's fine because I will be drawing this. So I'm not going to go into specifics of it. I'm just going to be telling you what the lines mean and how they will kind of work. Not really work because I'm not going to go into the whole thing because it's kind of complex. But I will kind of talk about how it backs up what I've talked about already, if it happens potentially, because again, this is, so these red areas, these are equilibriums. So this is like, you know, these are areas of concern. Like if we print below and like start to use resistance, that's when we can start using these ranges as, you know, where our price can go. But if we use it support and continue onwards, then obviously we've still got this range to continue into as we, you know, kind of mess around. So you can see here, like, you know, obviously this was coming from breaking equilibrium. You can see back here, we broke it, we hovered it at, hopefully you guys can see that on the stream. We obviously hovered it back here, but again, this was huge. We can see, like, if we kind of shimmy this backwards, you can see, like, the equilibrium bounce, you know, not too close there, but bounce here especially. So we still used equilibrium back here. So once we broke below that, what happened? Came with it, came towards the area. Obviously not here, a bit lower. This is a break above, but again, we couldn't hold it. That's why I was never concerned about us holding this, because we never truly came above equilibrium properly for this. This was kind of a temporary thing. So I didn't believe we were going to, you know, pump crazy in the market, because I knew we were in this sort of scenario. We came drastically above equilibrium, obviously coming into these big zones here. We never came back to equilibrium and kind of truly used it where we, you know, stayed below it. Because you can see here, like in the difference, like if I shimmy backwards of concern, you can see this is 4 hours. You can see at this area, what the hell? You can see at this area we really started to use it as resistance here, and we truly kind of came below it and did this. You know, we actually test it as resistance. Here you can see just actually really nicely moved. If I shimmy back down, you can see, like, if I start to draw across from these equilibriums, you can see how accurate it is back here. If I make these red and just like try and pretend these are equilibrium, you know, you can see the price truly did actually do what it was supposed to do, to flip these areas and change its range we were in, where obviously instead of staying above it, as you can see in these lines here, you can see you know, support here. What happened is we flipped it and then started to use resistance here and then continued our movement. So this was a good thing. You know, if our main movement from 71 or 70k up here caused us to come below this equilibrium, and we never tested it and we just continued onwards, then I wouldn't be as concerned when we came back to it, you know, over here to hold it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we just didn't have that structure properly, if you know what I mean. So let me remove these and go back to where we are now. So where are we? We're over here. Got to 4 hours. So you can see, like, right now what we're doing is it's very similar but on the opposite end of things. You can see, you know, really nice, if we zoom in onto it, really nice usage of support here. You know, maybe, what's that, like $5 off. So really good support. Whoops, that is not what I want to do. It's really good support here, and again as well, using the candle bodies, just good support in this area. So if we don't flip this and kind of test it, I don't want to hold down here. So I'm not too concerned if we flip it and then use 55.6 as resistance, come down to these areas and then come up, because we don't need to do this, but as in, if we were to come down here, I wouldn't want us to kind of, you know, do a normal movement like this and use it as resistance and then come down, because obviously it'd just be a bit harder on us, and I just wouldn't want that. Obviously, you can see here we slightly came to it, but nothing too strong, unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, let me go back to what we're actually doing now. I can hide some of these and show you the first range here, which is what I'm you know, thinking about right here. So this is a considerable area. This whole area between this orange line and some of these blue ones, this is a considerable area for areas where you can see support points, or areas we might bounce off, or areas where we'll see a good price response in the opposite direction. So if we zoom back in, what do we see? Well, I think it's on the, is it on the 1 hour? Yeah. So within these areas are, you know, order blocks and fair value gaps. So you can see number one, order block here. So this lines up. You don't have to know the specifics of it. I'm just telling you, like, exactly what it is. Where this is order block. This is, you know, where it happens. Obviously, you got this rejection block, which is very good used, but again, this is a different kind of area. It doesn't matter. What matters is this area and this mini gap here. Nothing too strong, but it does back up with what I'm about to say now. So the general area of this is 52.6 towards about 51.6, where the midline of this fair value gap is 51.774, which is actually exactly on this blue line here. So that is a considerable price point. So if we go back to here, obviously, what do we see? 51.754, 51.757. These line up, and again, this is like kind of opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of obviously you've got this. I think this line is the fair value gap, but this backs it up in terms of it actually being something we can, you know, pay attention to. And again, like I said, you don't need to. I'm not going to go into how the entire system works. I'm just telling you what it means for the system to work. So if we were to come below equilibrium and we were looking to come towards this rejection block and continue this movement of the rising wedge and ignore these areas and continue towards it, I don't think we come below midpoint at least. I think 51.750 is going to be an important price point for Bitcoin if we do come to these areas. So let me bring back up these ranges so we can see exactly what we're doing. So yeah, like I said, if we start to kind of flip these and attempt to come below and use it and then start to, you know, venture, you know, onwards below where we are, I could definitely see these being of great importance to us, which I've already talked about, you know, when we formed this ages ago, you know, basically last month, and then we started to have this rising wedge, which was basically coming into, you know, 27th of August, and this kind of movement now was when I started to focus on this rejection block and this gap, which we had on the small time. And again, this gap's tiny, so it's not like it's going to be one of these, like, you know, we touch it and then we like move on type of things. So in terms of if we were to flip this equilibrium and we were to kind of come down and continue towards these bottom areas, and the rising wedge wasn't like stopping right now, then I would see those price points. But again, you do have to bear in mind that there is this equilibrium which we are currently holding pretty accurately right now, especially on these candle bodies, which we could still hold and continue onwards back up. Now, in order for us to continue onwards, we would have to continue on above this wick at about 58.5. So we have to come above 58.5, personally for me, for us to be truly in a situation where we won't come to these 51 area, this 51 whatever, 51,750 areas, and not come all the way down and continue onwards for Bitcoin upwards, that is. So, I mean, at that position as well, this purple line is important. The orange, the red, and the purple are important ones. Blue ones are important, but, you know, they are, like, not less so, but they're not, like, truly, like, strong or whatever. But the purple ones are very important. Obviously, this kind of coincides, you know, 51.5, 51.3, 50. This range is where we need to get above. Orange is going to be important as well, but then when we come along, then we can truly see price continue. And again, as I was saying with the fair value gap, it goes rejection blocks, order blocks, fair value gaps, and then liquidity voids. So you can see these first three are very important in terms of resistance and support. So these are areas where you establish true areas of resistance or support. And you can see it goes rejection block, order block. And what do we see on the 1 hour formed here? An order block. And you can see the backup of this order block is true because of this really tight response of this order block continuing downwards. So 59.3 and 59.5, this area is going to be really, really good resistance as well, which I don't expect us to break immediately above off the rip, you know what I'm saying? So I do expect to have difficulty there. But, you know, if we start to come towards 55, 50, 580, we could see like a mini 1 hour, you know, double bottom thing, which could bring us back upwards. So there is that potential. So for me personally, it does depend on if we hold this equilibrium down here, which it looks like we could be doing. You can see we're really holding this on, like, you know, 3 hours, you know, multiple times, and even back here we're holding this rough area pretty well. Obviously backing up the facts, which helps, is this big old rejection block which we have, which we're holding this area, especially on the 30-minute, which is a bit more accurate in terms of the midpoint of it. If we go back to it, you can see the midpoint's pretty accurately doing that. And you can see this is roughly an order block, but it's not, because we're slightly wicking into it. So, you know, technically we've got more, support there, technically. So we could see that. But, you know, it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, we could go up or we could go down. It's more of a, if we start to see our price venture towards, you know, up here, then I could expect us to go even further. So it's kind of, for me, it's backup. You know, you could wager your bets onto coming above up there, you know, coming above equilibrium again and continuing back up to these orange areas. You could wager it, but I do want to pay attention to the fact that we still have, technically, if we were to ignore everything else other than chart pattern, it suggested we should still come down, but it doesn't take into account that we could have other areas which keep us above either support or resistance. But what's funny as well is this range down here is very near to this equilibrium. The one I've already drawn. Whoops. Oh my god, the line's so small I can't draw it. There we go. So we kind of have this range right now. Obviously, in between that low and here, that's kind of like my range right now of significance where we come to as a low. So, you know, obviously we formed it. We've already come to it once and then responded upwards. We're coming to it again. Could we respond upwards? If we did, I could expect it to be higher. And that's what I'm concerned about right now in terms of our Bitcoin movement, is if we have that response and it be some sort of double bottom kind of coming upwards, because then it would surpass, obviously, this level at 58.5, which I've already said is the line we need to surpass in order for us to break out of this downtrend and continue onwards, you know, coming to whatever we need to go, you know, above. So I'm kind of waiting on that personally. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But again, if we do continue with this movement, which we've been following pretty well over this period, and again, you know, there were periods where it's like, oh my god, we're you know, this 59 area where we're kind of hovering. Where was it again? It was like 28. It was right here. So we were kind of hovering here. It's like, okay, cool. That's our high. Are we gonna get above this? Well, you can see on the daily we didn't really move. Even on this smaller area here, you kind of had a movement above it. Whoops. There we go. Like this, you're like, okay, cool. Well, now we're starting to come up a bit. So it kind of depended on this movement. We'd never had it. So we could have one of those again where we're starting to have, higher and higher movements. But we need that break. We need that break. Even back here, if this was to happen, then I would know, then we would continue onwards. But, yeah, I'm waiting on this personally. But then, we've got this back up here, which is good. This proves more to me that this is going to be a stronger area of support. And what I've already said as well, like we could have relatively equal lows here, which would then kind of give us this continual movement upwards, and on the daily anyway, mean a higher movement in general coming upwards. All the way back up to where we started this entire movement to begin with back in July. So I'm hoping for that. But again, at the same time, I'm actually hoping we come down. And I know it sounds like a bad thing. Oh, we're going to come down to 51. But if our majorative move in manipulation, coming into, let's say, the middle of next week, if we're still coming down, I'm even more confident that we go up in the future. So I don't care what anyone says. I hope we come down to these areas. I want us to come down to these areas so that it means that we can come up in this phase up here and continue all the way up to these potential areas. And 85k is a low area. In terms of what other people are saying, this is technically a low area. I've seen people say, I've seen 90k. I had 90k at one point. Some people think 103, 100k. So there's a whole lot of things going on there. But even if we don't see that, even if it's 85k minimal, then coming to these areas at 51, 65% up all the way to 85k, we could definitely see. But again, I don't think we surpassed 48k because I think there was importance in 48k. I can't remember what it was exactly. It was, again, you can see even here, like it was previous equilibrium of this low range. So going back to these dealing ranges and these equilibriums, this was again important area which we came to. So these are good ranges. Obviously, you can do your research. You can come to Telegram and ask me about them. I can kind of give some resources about it. But again, we've already talked about how these were gaps back here which we filled. So I don't need to go on about that again. But I do want to see, I would like to see a downward movement here. But for me, we need to hold this equilibrium if we want to see movement upwards. But I don't want to see movement upwards. So yeah, let's see. Anyway, I'm going to move on now though to Ethereum because I've spent a long time talking about Bitcoin. I think it's this one. Okay, here we go. So, and again, I can't remember which Ethereum chart I looked at. Okay, this is not it, I don't think. Here it is. Perfect. So, yeah, it seems like we're back here again. We actually came to... interesting. We actually came to this area. So, in terms of dealing ranges, you can draw them in multiple ways, but this way I've drawn it is from a premium and discount, and you can see what happens. What happened? We came to it. Really, really nice. And again, we are also in discount. I actually need to have this on the screen because we already have one of them. Oh, I'm not going to move it, am I? Hold on, let me try to delete this. So we already know if we're in premium or discount based on being below this red line, basically. Sol, maybe, Outlook. Yeah, I will look at Sol after Ethereum, so I will look at Sol in a minute. So we have this gap here, which obviously we filled and then used. So again, we can't really use it again because, like I said, we already used it. And you can see as well, midline of this fair value gap was also on the white line, which is really nice. So where are we going to now? We can see there's consistent amount of wicks down here. So you can see there's like a rough area down here where we see multiple wicks or multiple times bouncing off this. This is roughly like a rejection block area. And what do you see? You see us form these areas, come up, come down, and immediately touch it and use it. Again, also you can consider the 71 area on the on this tool as another area at 2,300. We already used it again. It's a rejection block. So it looks like similar with Bitcoin. We're riding down as always with everything else. Are we coming down properly? Well, we'll see. I haven't drawn these dealing ranges as I have with this. I haven't drawn this, so I don't have that to look at on the screen. So maybe next stream I'll look at it. But we don't have that right now. So what we have to go off is just this. So you can see we've bounced off this area. Either it be on this white line or this rejection block we've bounced off twice now. And again, you can kind of see, even if we draw this line across from a white line, these are relatively equal lows here. So if we draw that across, you can see these are equal lows. So if I had this fib tool, you can see these are good lows here, good equal lows. So this is going to be a considerable area. Not only do we have big old rejection block. We also have 2 equal lows where if we sweep below this, 2,000, 2,250, 2,235, let's say, this is going to be really, really good for us to have a big pump upwards. And again, this is the exact same range as Bitcoin in terms of this low. These are very similar areas. Obviously, we're not as close because again, not every coin is like identical in terms of the way they move. There is, rhyme and reason with, their areas. Because again, this is actually, to be fair, this is daily. So if we go to here, it's still similar though. Like we don't, on Ethereum, we have touched the rejection block area, but on Bitcoin, we haven't. But they are technically the representative areas of each other. So I reckon this is the equivalent of Bitcoin's area down here. So, the 2,232 would be Bitcoin's 51.8 kind of area, if you know what I mean. So we're still riding down to that area. Obviously, we've had this wick already. But, not only it being, obviously, for Bitcoin, it's the fair value gap and the rejection block. But for Ethereum, it's the rejection block and a sweep below here. Obviously, we could have some sort of gap maybe back here if we had a little nosy. Not quite. We've already filled it back here. You can see we don't quite have one. You can see we've filled it already and came up. So we don't have a gap down here or anything. Maybe on the 30-minute though, to be fair. If we have a really quick look. We do actually. We do have a 30-minute, which we've already technically kind of came to fill. If I zoom in a bit more, I can't get this. There we go. We've already kind of filled it once, so there's not really much coming back to it. So I don't really see it again. But it is again within the 2,300, 2,250 area again. So if there is anything there, and to be fair as well, if we see, you can see. I've said the same thing twice. Sorry. We have an order block. Lower time frame on this rejection block, so just more backup to the fact that we have an order block, bottom of the area being 2,232, as I've just said, on the 30-minute. Where if we zoom it across and then zoom back in on let's say the 1 hour or the 4 hour actually, this is going to be the same scenario where we come into this area, within here. Number 1, it's a sweep. Number 2, it's an order block at the bottom. Number 3, it's a midpoint of rejection. So it might actually be 2,260 maybe because it's the midpoint of the order block. Because again, rejection blocks, it's rough area. Again, it's rough area. So I could see a sweep below these 2 lows coming to maybe 2,280 to 2,260 and then us pumping again. Which number 1 would be order block, rejection block, bounce. Number 2, a sweep to continue onwards and then break out of this lower low kind of or downtrend. And then obviously come upwards towards these highs, as Bitcoin would have filled this gap, rejection block, rising wedge would be finished, relatively equal lows in terms of a kind of double bottom, and then coming back all the way back up again to these high areas. So I think there's definitely a lot of rhyming in Ethereum and Bitcoin with the way they're moving, and I do expect it to follow through soon. In terms of obviously if we're reversing now or not, that depends for me personally with Bitcoin's equilibrium, which we're holding. And number 2, Ethereum, we're probably at equilibrium as well. But I haven't got it drawn, so I can't really show it. But again, even though we're still in an undecisive scenario for me anyway. Obviously, I might not be seeing something, but in terms of what we're doing right now, this could be our bounce, and we could be coming up again. So this could be a good long position. Coming back up towards these high areas. Coming to this order block potentially at 59.5. That could be a good area. So it does depend personally, but we also have this we have this which we haven't actually used yet. You can see we kind of formed it, came into it, flipped it. We haven't really used it, so we could use this again, coming to 57.2. So it, again, continue the downtrend. A nice little downtrend like this. We could continue down like this with this being our high. So it does depend of how we treat this area in the next hour, 2, 3 or 4, whatever it may be. Oh no, this is 4 hours. So coming into maybe tomorrow, seeing how we move upwards or not for Bitcoin is what I'm looking for. And again, with Ethereum, we're probably at equilibrium, like I just said. So I do want to see if we hold this or not. But like I said, like 5 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, if we come below 55.5, bounce off maybe 55.1, come back up to test equilibrium, then I could see us definitely coming below. But I don't want that to happen. Again, like I said, I want us to really quickly come down towards these areas, coming towards 51.8, and then come all the way back up again. That's what I want us to happen, because I think that would be huge for Bitcoin in terms of the daily. It'd be a huge thing to happen. If we go back to the daily to show you, it would be like this. It would be huge, like that. Relatively equal lows, kind of a W all the way back up to here. And I want, like I said, again, sorry, I keep on saying the same thing, but it is what it is. I want manipulation. I want us basically coming towards maybe Monday next week. Oh no, it's not Monday next week. That's the week after, isn't it? Yeah. I want us Monday the week after. I want us to be in downtrend still. I want the Monday next week to be the start of an uptrend. That's what I want personally. Because the majority of manipulation, I would like to be negative so that we can come up in distribution and then come up all the way to, 85k and continue onwards throughout, September and, October going into November basically. Or October the 31st basically. So I want that. That's what I want personally. But as I see it right now, we're in this downtrend. We haven't, it's really pretty clear for this actually. But to be fair, we did have that sweep, but we never used it, which is interesting for this. But to be fair, we never had, to change out of this trend and to go upwards. Obviously, we would have to kind of do this. We'd have to have the higher high, and then a higher low, and then come upwards. Then, But we didn't do that. We just continued downwards and had a big dump. This is kind of like stop. This is like people getting in at these. For example, this gap here. You can see. Obviously, we came down. We formed a higher high. We formed a gap as well. So people are probably getting in at this position at 2,470 to then long because we've broken our structure, and then obviously everyone got faked out. So yeah, it's unfortunate. But again, for that to happen and us still being a downtrend, I think we continue this personally. But again, if we start to sweep this, then I guess. But this is on the 4 hour. This. If I said by Monday I want us to still be in a downtrend, then that's like, where's that? That's over here. So are we somehow gonna see 2,237 in this? Well, if we kind of look at the trend, if we draw a trend line in the middle of it, you can roughly see that the trend line going like this brings us, if we shimmy it across to these lows as well, like this, you can see it kind of meets here for Monday. This meets at rejection block again, so we could have downtrend, we come back up, down, whatever, coming towards this area by Monday, which is what I want to see. Obviously, will it happen? We'll have to see what time will tell, I suppose. But I would like that. I would like that a lot, because then it would mean really big positivity in the higher time frames. Anyway, let's go to Solana. I can't remember which chart I use. I always forget. It might be this one. This one's really messy though. Just look at that. Look at the lines. Perfect. Yeah. So we saw this. I think I talked about this already though. To be fair though, this was Monday. When was the last time I did TA? I think it was Wednesday time, wasn't it? Or was it Thursday? Oh no, it would have been Monday this week, wouldn't it? I think Monday this week I did TA, which was about Monday. So I've already talked about this. I've already talked about this. Double top coming down, so a really nice movement downwards. But again, double top would be bringing us down to this wick. And again, to be fair though, this is rejection block, and you can see we're holding it on the top pretty nicely with this line. So there's a lot of confluence in terms of the top of this rejection block being support. So are we going to be holding this? I guess we will see. Obviously, I'm on the daily right now. I do want to go down into the lower time frames. But if Bitcoin and Ethereum are starting to see a lot of negativity, I don't think Solana will be too dissimilar. I think we'll continue into this. But no, similar with Ethereum, where we've come into this rejection block area, and obviously we're starting to come out a bit. We're holding this a bit stronger. You can see between this high line, which I drew with these two lows, we're kind of holding this area and this rejection block and this lines here. We can also see we've formed another one here. If I get this out, there we go. You can see we've formed another one which just backs up this line as more support. So as we see it right now, it kind of looks like we're in a bit of a trend like this right now, which is kind of unfortunate. But in terms of how I see it, I think we might break this eventually, coming towards maybe $120 again, maybe 121. But you can see, actually, to be fair though, we had this gap back here which we filled. You can see here we filled it. Obviously we kind of wicked below, but we filled it nonetheless. I do want to see it on the lower time frames to see if we had. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So we had this one which we filled, but this one's important, and this is very similar to Bitcoin, as I've already said. This is very similar to Bitcoin. So if we shimmy this across, you can see we never touched it. We came down to it. We never touched it. So this rough area, $120, like I said, I think $120 is a very important price for Solana. Similar with, obviously, Bitcoin's low areas. We had that fair value gap on the order block on Bitcoin on the 30-minute. So we could have something similar here where, you know, go to the 30-minute and zoom back. Actually, very similar again. We have a rough area back here. You can see this gap's a bit bigger though. So, you know, it's not as strong. But you can see there's an order block. Again, like I said, they don't always follow one-to-one, but it rhymes. It is rhyming with, in terms of, you know, Bitcoin having the order block and the fair value gap. Solana is not any dissimilar, where the bottom of the fair value gap has an order block in place. So what I could say personally is that we could fill the entire fair value gap instead of the middle, as with Bitcoin. So instead of $120, it could be $115. So, you know, Bitcoin has 51.8 or 51.750. Ethereum had 23.60, I think, or 22.60, I can't remember. And Solana has $115 is what I could see for our lows. Obviously, yeah, right now, what it looks like right now is we're kind of waiting until that truthful moment, you know, coming up in the future, where we kind of eventually break this, fill this, and then come back into it on Monday. And then obviously kind of pump. So I haven't seen signs yet that we're shifting. Even right now, we're still fighting at this equilibrium, you know? We're still fighting to try and get below it. So I think if we eventually break this, I think it's going to be very, very big. Very, very huge for our movement in general. So I am waiting for that. Like I just said, I keep on saying the same thing over and over again, but I am waiting for that. So I think if Bitcoin can do this, I think Ethereum and Solana can follow suit and we continue downwards. But like I said, personally, I think we do shimmy a bit. Same with Bitcoin and you know, Ethereum, in terms of their gradients of them coming downwards. If I go to the 4 hour, it's very, very similar. You know, if we roughly have a midpoint, you know, if I make this black again, you see that's roughly the trend line for it. And if we shimmy back down to where we see about here, you can see this is roughly the trend line. And you can see if we shimmy this across, we're roughly getting to these areas Monday time. It might be faster, you know, might be a bit faster. You can see, you know, the rough midline of it. You can see, like, if we were to draw a rough movement like this, the rough middle is about here, you know. So obviously this is really like pie in the sky TA, but the rough trend line of it is about like that, and you can see it roughly meets this area about Monday, which is what I'm hoping for anyway. Similar with Ethereum, like I said, similar with Solana. If we keep up this kind of crabbing and then eventually dip, because, you know, Solana, I always talk about it being the moody teenager of you know, crypto. So if we see Ethereum and Bitcoin, you know, continue its downtrend, Solana could maybe just continue a sideways movement, dip really fast, and then come up Monday time to see, you know, positivity. But again, I think most things, they rhyme and they don't follow suit fully. I think a lot of things rhyme together. So I think Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana are going to rhyme, you know, in unison downwards to these specific prices. And then by Monday time, next week, I think we start coming upwards, and then hopefully see... and then by then, we have manipulation majoritively being negative, which means distribution phase should be positive, meaning we should hopefully come up to these high numbers coming into end of October, November time. So that's what I'm waiting on. This is a lot of... I mean, this TA today is a lot of long-range TA, a lot of higher time frame TA. So I am expecting this over a longer period of time. So I guess we will see. Let me look at the chat, though, because I haven't looked at that in quite a while, especially on Binance. So let me have a little nosy. Not seeing many questions or TA questions about different coins. I'm looking though. Kishan saying hello. Kishan the goat. Not giving you one Bitcoin. That was it. The chat is dead on Binance. That's crazy. Let me go on YouTube. So what do we have? I'm bored of sideways. I just want to move. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. So 52 or 60 is a question. Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely. If we go back to Bitcoin. Oh, I'm on Bitcoin for a while. Yeah, so as I was saying, we're slightly doing it now. Obviously, I'm not showing hope for this because we could wick again. But for me personally, and I'd never like doing TA where I say it could go up, could go down. But there's just some scenarios in my personal way of doing TA, where there's moments like that, where, in normal TA, if I wasn't to follow this on my, I hit my mic, sorry. If I wasn't to follow this on my screen, and we were to only go off this chart, I would say, oh yeah, we're still going down. We filled this fair value gap back here at this wick down. We came up to do a lower high, and now we're going to do a lower low. And to be fair, if we wick below 55.358, I'm not worried if we go above 58.5, because we need to have, if we're in a downtrend, to flip it, what happens? Down, 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 down. If we do a higher low and then a higher high, you know what I'm saying? That starts to change the trend. That was a horrible drawing, but you know what I mean. So even if we didn't hold properly below this and we just wick below, that would just give us more time to get to these areas by Monday next week. Following this rough trend line, you can see like this needs to do this, wherever it's doing. So, this could be our lower low down here, being below here, but it doesn't have the necessary print. So what could happen is we could wick below equilibrium and then come back up to this inverted fair value gap, which is above premium, by the way, or above equilibrium, which is premium. So this is an inverse fair value gap, which we could come back to, 57 to whatever, 57.6. That would mean a lower high again, maybe continuing down below equilibrium. So in terms of, we just said 52 or 60 a question. That is obviously going on to the flip side of things. If we hold this and, we kind of obviously have this trend we've had going on, and then, whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. And this is our, higher low. Then we could do a higher high, obviously coming up to these areas. We have an order block at 60k, or roughly 60k, 59.7, 59.8. So 59.8, 60k is obviously where we have. So I could see that being the opposite side of things, where we could come to. But again, we are fighting right now at this area. So if we go to the lower time frames, just to see if we've got anything backing us up to continue downwards. Obviously, actually, a Bitcoin this chart has it a bit more. So you can see like this red area. You can see we use it as resistance, and now we're coming down pretty well towards these lows. Right now you can see we're starting to come down. Obviously, this is an order block, so we're slightly staying above this. But if we've done this and we print below this order block, we'd start to use 56 as resistance and then continue downwards. And then, this fair value gap, I could probably delete it, to be honest, because we've already used it. We've already completed it. So I can delete this and continue downwards. So there's no significance in that there. I'm just looking now. Yeah, so obviously, formed this kind of resistance area, came back into it. Coming down now, we're hovering, and 56.089 is a very important price as well. I've talked about that, already. Our main, price range on the grand scheme of things was this price and this price. And what my question was is, sweeping this price or this price, because you can see we had 3 lows here at 56.7, came below that price, and then continued an uptrend. So you can see we had downtrend. We had 3 lows in the same price area. Uptrend, we had kind of downtrend, sweeped it, and then what happened? We started to come in an uptrend then. Obviously we had rising wedge, which stayed into this anyway, but you can still see we had that sweep. But again, once we sweep that was our next low. So coming below this could be our, okay, we've come below this area. Are we going to now come up again to change sentiment because we've now sweeped a low? But we've already come below it once, and this is 4 hours as well. We've already come below it once, and we never did a higher high, or we never came above 59, we never came above 59 or 58. This area, no, actually, 59.5. We never came above this, which was the previous high. You can see this was a high after sweeping this. So if we did something like this, where we kind of did this and then did a higher high and a higher low, that would be our sentiment change coming up. But we never did that. We did another lower high, even though we sweeped. So I'm not concerned that we change and we've changed sentiment and we're going to go up now. I still think we're in this downtrend. I still think we're going to come down. But the big question is if we can, switch on this here is my question. But if we let me zoom in a bit actually. But this is interesting. You can kind of see like this is a higher time frame fair value gap, but you can see on the 1 hour, I think this is a 4 hour actually. Yeah, you can see 4 hour. We kind of flipped it. You can see roughly though, like, you know, faintly. We've formed this, inverted it, used it as resistance, and came down. So you can see we're still in a position where we want to come down. And again, we are technically in premium, so you know it is a higher likelihood that we start to flip things to be negative. Obviously not. That's not how exactly it works, because you know you're never going to be in a range forever and ever. But you know you can see like you can see it easier on this trend, or on the 1 hour. Sorry, not this trend. We formed it, and then we came back into it, and then we flipped it. You know, we came back into it, flipped it, and then we filled it, and then we came down, and now we've used it again on the bottom, and now we're coming down again. So, you know, it's one of those things where, actually, we also technically have, you know, some equal highs here, which we also used here, which I drew on this area. But, like I said, we flipped this fair value gap, and now we've used it as a negative thing coming down. So I still think we have potential to hover here at this equilibrium. But, you know, again, like I said, if we flip this and do a lower low below 55.550, then I think we continue this downtrend. Absolutely. So, yeah. In my opinion, it will depend on the weekly close. Good point. You know, let me check the weekly close, actually. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because this is, yeah, that's true. Because we do have these two prices, what I drew, and, you know, we have this of concern, where if we don't close above this, this is of, you know, great importance. But again, following what, you know, I'm thinking could happen, you know, is breaking below this line here. You can see this here. I really want to come below this, which is like obviously, like what I said, is why I'm so dependent on if we come below 55.550 or not. Let me go back on this time frame. There we go. And, you know, if we kind of stay below this line or not. I don't want to stay below the line. That's the thing. Personally, I don't want to print below, because it's going to be more difficulty in the future. Because, you know, if we continue downwards trend, use it as resistance, let's say, not twice, but if we truly come down, use it as resistance, and then fill this and start to change sentiment or whatever, or, you know, let's say it's even a bit smaller, change sentiment, kind of doing this, we're just going to have difficulty at this equilibrium, and I don't want that. So I would like a fast move downwards. And again, going back to the daily, on the rising wedge, we've seen what's happened twice now, and I'm hoping it happens again. We had big movement downwards, hoverage, decent movement downwards. I hope we hover again, and then have that big movement downwards, and then start to come upwards, is what I want to happen personally. So that, number one, we don't close on the higher time frames below equilibrium, so that we can come back up at equilibrium and continue an uptrend. Number one, giving negative manipulation so that distribution can be positive, and that we can have a general uptrend on the longer time frames, on the daily or the weekly, whatever, coming upwards towards where everyone thinks, you know, in October, September time, you know, 85k, whatever it is. So, you know, yeah, I would agree. On the higher time frames, I definitely think we need to see what happens, or we need to see it kind of close or not close on the higher time frames, on the daily or not. So, yeah, like, you know, let me shimmy back down. Here we go. Yeah, because, you know, even if we did an equal low on the daily, that would be even more difficult, because then, you know, we did equal thing. Even if we came below, then this would kind of, you know, give us the idea that, okay, we've got two equal lows here, we should now just come up quickly. So that would even be worse, even if we had an equal low. So, you know, that wouldn't help either in terms of continuing a downtrend. But I suppose it matters what happens. You know, big move, hoverage, could be potential for having this big move now. Hoverage, big move type thing, you know what I'm saying? So, I guess we'll see on the higher time frames. And again, we will see what happens. But, yeah, going back to lower time frames, I definitely think we're hovering at 56, which was, like I've already pointed out, this 56.089 price is of great importance to me personally. So I do want to see that be, you know, continued, and we have these different resistance points up here. But the more fair value gaps we do on the negative side of things, the more difficult it's going to be. Because again, you know, we are above equilibrium, so we should be looking for negative fair value gaps. So you can see here, for example, negative fair value gap, came into it, and then had a big response downwards. So you want to see these gaps be followed. So the more slow and the more steady we move downwards, the less chance we have of those big gaps forming, the less chance we have of big dumps. But, you know, again, we have one up here as well. We also have the inter-range thing here, which is going to be of great importance, which is in between these lines here, at here, and this low. this is going to be great importance as well. So if we delete this, so coming towards, 57,680, 57,8, okay, well, potentially up to there. But I think maybe when you have two gaps, you look for the lower end of here, because this is important. I'm not going to like yap on about it, but this is of great importance. So I think within the lower end of this gap is where great importance is going to be for responding and it being negative and whatnot. So, and again, this is quite high up, so this is going to take quite a while to come to. So this just matches on to the fact that we could stay below in this range on the higher time frames as we come up to these. To be fair, this is on the 1 hour, so it might not take too much difficulty to come up to these areas and then come down again. But again, it's more resistance. As long as we stay below 58.5, we're not going to be changing that sentiment if we're doing a higher low and a higher high. Because, like I said, I've already said this, we need to come to below this line in order for it to be a lower low. So if we do a higher low and a higher high, that is true kind of sentiment change then. When it kind of does this, downwards, higher low, higher high, that's when you start to come upwards again. And then we're out of this completely. We're never going to come to this 51 area. It's all over. We're coming all the way up now, type of thing. So it does, like I said, it does depend. I haven't seen any coins though, to be fair. I haven't seen a single coin actually. So that's okay, because we actually spent a ton of time on just Bitcoin alone, which, I do enjoy, because Bitcoin is really, really important. Okay, whatever. Nothing on Binance, that's okay though. Actually, I don't think I answered what's your prediction, more on 60 or more on 50 side in the next 7 days. Well, as I see fit right now, unless my mind gets changed due to us being a higher high, we're still in this downtrend. We still have potential to come below equilibrium if we follow suit with this kind of attitude we have in Bitcoin. So I'm leaning more towards 51 and 50k area, like you said, because even if I didn't have this chart and didn't have this conflicting equilibrium, I would have been paying attention to this, and my attention would be on 56,089 and rejection block down here, and this fair value gap on the 30-minute. So that's what I'll be focusing on. So regardless of if I had different TA or not, it would be leaning more towards the lower end of things. So yeah, I guess we'll see though. I'm excited to see what's going on though. We see, like, even here, like, we do have these lows. Like, even if we come towards this area and we come below it, we're going to come up again. So we do have a lot of resistance at equilibrium. Well, not resistance, but we do have a lot of support. Support anyway, because it's below us. But, we do have a lot of things trying to keep us below. So, I guess we'll see. I don't think it's going to take too long to decide, though. Even though I do think we need that print on the weekly or the daily, wherever it's going to be. I don't think it's going to take too long to decide if we're above this or not, because once even on whatever time frame, once we start to come below this equilibrium and print, that's when things are going to start to get interesting and show signs of either or type of thing. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But it is 9:59 though. It is time for us to end the stream, because it's been a great stream. It has mainly, to be fair, been focusing solely on Bitcoin. And not too much on the other things, but I think that is important, especially how we're moving right now. These interesting movements like this, a really, really big one, obviously 5%. Currently in today, moved down 3.29%. We're just moving. This whole movement and these whole areas was just big setups for more downwards movement. This is just as exciting as this is exciting. But yeah, final notes. I don't think we're coming anywhere towards 48.9. As a final thing. I don't think we have that in us, because obviously this was a big old 30% move down, obviously coming from the high even to the low. Let me do that better. There we go. I can't click this, Jesus Christ. There we go. Yeah, so whether it not be a 30% move down already, I don't think we have another one like that. It's not going to do that though, because it would only be a 24%, but I don't think we have that. I think it definitely needs to stop, somewhere near. It could be even 53, actually, 53.9. But with what it's showing, with obviously not only these areas at the order block and fair value gap lining up with where it's supposed to be, and obviously this rising wedge to this rejection block, we just have so much down at these concentrated areas where I don't think we come anywhere below them. If we do come towards them, that is on the the weekly and close below 56.089, below this range, coming towards equilibrium. And onwards. So yeah, final notes. I think we've got an interesting one on our hands. I am going to hopefully keep it posted on Telegram, because I definitely think it should hopefully, not entirely on the weekly, we still have like 3 days, 4 hours, whatever. I think it will resolve in some regard decently soon, so I'm going to try to keep that posted on Telegram. So if you do want to go join, links in the description. I'll hopefully post it on the public area to keep it going. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you all so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the stream, or if you're new and you're like, this guy's great, this guy's absolutely brilliant, he's so amazing at all the TA, I think he's the best person in the entire world for TA, and everyone else is trash, then hold on, no way. Could you briefly look at KDJ indicator? Oh, an indicator. You know what? Yeah, fair, fine. I thought it was gonna be a coin. I was like, oh my god. So what does that say? K. Oh mate, which one is it? Is it this one? I can do. I've never used it in my life, although I will have a look. Let me hide that volume. So I don't know how to read it, but I can assume these green areas are when it's going up and down. And I can assume we've severely crossed these lines and we're severely in a red area. Obviously, they kind of came up, but they're still coming down. So it looks like we're going down more. Yeah, I can agree, absolutely. If this indicator holds up correctly, I actually don't know what it reads upon. If I can bring it up. I don't know what it reads on. So it's based on smooth or simple moving averages. So it's based on moving averages, which is fine. So it's got 3 lines, and then this one is a multiplication. Okay, so one seems like it's a smoothed version of the other two. Okay, well this is a big old formula. But it has SMA in the name, so I'm going to assume it's a moving average of some sort. And then one of them, which is fuchsia, is a combination of both of them. And if PG equals PD, PG is lime. Okay, so basically if the pink and the green are above each other, or if they cross, is when it changes from positive to negative. And the orange must be an intermediary value. So you can see the pink looks like it's diverging stronger than green, so it seems like we're coming down for potential even more. So yeah, I can agree in terms of what you said, Danny. It looks like we're going more down. I completely agree. If this, obviously, like I said, holds true with its moving averages. I don't know what time frames these are based on. Yeah, these are some interesting values. So I don't know what it's completely based on, but I can agree, absolutely. So I guess we will see. I guess we will see what happens. Where are we? Where the hell are we? There we go. I guess we'll see. I'm very interested. Oh, again, as well, since we are above equilibrium, depending on what this 1 hour does, we could have another little gap on our hands, which just doesn't help at all. But anyway, it is 10:04, so we're going to end it very, very soon. Let me bring the chat up again. Oracle, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. You know, it's been a good stream today, actually. It's been a very good stream. So thank you. Oh, what about your view on rate cuts upcoming day, big crypto boost long term or short-lived? I think there's a lot of convergence coming up very soon, which is going to help for prices of everything across the board. And with what I've got personally in terms of my TA, it would line up because again, if I go to the higher time frame on this other chart, basically, obviously, if you're not familiar with the AMD kind of cycle, basically the accumulation doesn't matter. Basically, what happens is manipulation. Let's say if the manipulation goes down within the distribution phase, you're supposed to go up. So that's like a really slimmed down version of what it is. So in terms of upcoming data and things to bear in mind, because again, I think latter in September, I think there's stuff in October, I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think coming into this period, I definitely think what I have external from outside data does line up with what is coming up soon. So I definitely think that's going to help if I was to follow what my chart says personally. But yeah, I definitely think it'll help, absolutely. I definitely think there are going to be like huge pumps and then major drawbacks to try and get people out, and then a continuation onwards. But again, that's just normal market movement regardless. So I definitely think so. Yeah, a decent crypto boost, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We have 5 minutes over. So yeah, again, if it's your first time joining and you appreciate the stream and you enjoyed the TA, consider following. You know, it would definitely help us, and liking if you are down there. You know, why not? It's free. And obviously, if you want your comments read, I do believe the Binance chat got turned off at some point, and there's just so much spam. So if you do want to actually come talk or ask questions or ask about different coins, then come over to YouTube. You can search up on Google Crypto Warehouse. You'll find us on YouTube. Come over there. I see all the chat on YouTube. Obviously, sometimes when I'm yapping a bit, I will not look at the chat for a while. But I normally read the entirety of YouTube chat. So if you do want to come talk or ask questions or different coins, then come over there to YouTube and I will, speak to you. So other than join Telegram, I appreciate it. It is Thursday today. My next stream should be on Monday. I don't think we have anything on the weekend. So I think next stream will be Monday night, which is a very important day, I believe. Why is it important? I forgot why 9th of September. I think it was important. I can't remember though. KB, that's okay, mate. See you on the next stream. Thank you. I appreciate you joining, and hopefully you are all a-okay. I know you said you're at the hospital, so hope all is well. And if it's not already all well, you're in my thoughts. So thank you for joining. I appreciate it. See you next stream. I will see you all next stream. Should be on Monday. Obviously, join Telegram. We always message in there whenever we're live, or the links and whatnot. So come join there as well. And I'm quite excited to see what's going on. I will, like I said as well, try and keep the Telegram posted with what I'm thinking with how we're going with Bitcoin, because we're still a bit shaky right now. I have been posting in the OG group as well with some good TA, which has been following through quite nicely. So I'll try to aim to post some of that, retrospectively throughout the public Telegram, and I'll post some, decent TA in the public Telegram as well. So come join, come talk. I know Kishan just said money flow on Bitcoin. I'll look at that after the stream. Give me 5 minutes and I'll post a little screenshot. So thank you all so much for joining. See you next time on Monday. And if you want to come talk, Telegram. Thank you and goodbye.